Hello everyone, I'm the Masked Analyst. This is the third video that I'm making in a series discussing how my account was suspended and how the DMCA can be used by anyone to get your account suspended as well. In this video I'll be discussing why the DMCA is unconstitutional. Now if you haven't seen my first two videos, I strongly recommend you're doing so now before you watch the rest of this video. Otherwise some of what I say won't make too much sense. There are two reasons why being able to speak anonymously is vitally important. First, some people may want to put forth their ideas without attaching their names to them because they may have some notoriety that would distract their potential audience from focusing on what they have to say. They may not want to use their real names if they think others will not give their ideas a fair hearing once they have discovered who is behind those ideas. And second, maintaining anonymity may be vital for security. Many of you have been harassed by haters on YouTube, and your anonymity may protect you from that harassment crossing into real life. Anonymity allows you to speak your mind without fear of harassment in real life, and it is especially important for those of you who have politically unpopular points of view. Maintaining your anonymity may even be the difference between life and death. It can make the difference between having to censor yourself or being able to speak out without having to worry about whether you are endangering your relatives. Red Skull once made a video in which he made a veiled death threat against me. He later contacted me and said that he had no intentions of killing me, but he is a pathological liar, so I can never really know what his true intentions are. In any case, I do not want him to know my name, and I don't want him to find out where I live. Now, though the threat against me is not negligible, it is relatively small. There are other people whose need for anonymity is far greater than mine. A Tibetan in the U.S. could not feel free to speak out against the Chinese government without anonymity because doing so could result in persecution of his relatives back home. A critic of a certain religion may face harassment or death if he uses his own name while mocking that religion. A critic of a certain criminal enterprise that masquerades as a religion may be harassed, framed for crimes she did not do, or targeted for murder. An employee may be fired from his or her job, or she may not get a promotion if she uses her real name while publicly supporting a politician or a cause that her boss can't stand. So being able to maintain anonymity is absolutely vital for many people if they want to exercise their right to free speech. Not only is the right to speak anonymously vital, it is a constitutional right. Anonymous free speech has a long history in our country, going back to the days of our founding fathers. Benjamin Franklin wrote under such pseudonyms as Silence Dogood, Alice Atherton, Fanny Mournful, and Obadiah Playman. John Adams wrote under names such as Vindex the Avenger, Populus, an American, and a Son of Liberty. And Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, and James Madison wrote under the name Publius when they published the Federalist Papers. The Federalist Papers were a series of essays that persuaded the people to adopt our current Constitution. Had it not been for those anonymously written documents, the United States as we know it might not exist today. Now don't take my word for it when I say that the ability to speak anonymously is a constitutionally guaranteed right. There is a series of cases decided by the Supreme Court and by various courts of appeals that clearly spell out this right. And the Supreme Court has also said in Reno versus ACLU that this right extends into cyberspace as well. There is also another set of cases that says that Congress may make a law that curtails a constitutionally protected right, such as freedom to speak anonymously, only if the legislation it passes is narrowly tailored and is necessary to serve a compelling state interest. The DMCA is unconstitutional because it curtails our right to speak anonymously, and it is as narrowly tailored as John Goodman's pants. I could easily spend an hour or two discussing these cases, but I'm droning on long enough as it is, so I'll post a link in my sidebar to my website where I present analysis and highlights from a dozen of them. When you read through my website, you should keep in mind that I'm not a lawyer, and that French kissing a piranha makes more sense than taking legal advice from me. Some of you who have watched my last video discussing the mechanics of the DMCA will already have figured out exactly why it is unconstitutional. So forgive me if you've already made the connections, but I want to spell this out explicitly so that everyone can understand. I will also spell out exactly how the DMCA, along with YouTube's perverse and overzealous implementation of the DMCA, gives you the power to suspend anyone's account, and it gives everyone else the power to suspend your account. With great knowledge comes great power, and with great power comes great responsibility. Do not, and I can't state this strongly enough, do not abuse this knowledge I am giving you. I state this for two reasons. Abusing a system to get someone else's account suspended just because you don't like them and want to censor them is immoral. Only the lowest, most worthless, sniveling little scumbag would do this. Only someone who is so incompetent that he couldn't hold his own in a debate using facts and logics would have to resort to such a bitch move. So don't abuse this information because it's an immoral thing to do. And if that isn't reason enough, then don't abuse this information by filing a false DMCA, because doing so would be committing perjury. You could also get your ass sued off if the person you censors wants to put the time and energy into taking you to court. Section 512F1 of the DMCA states that if you falsely claim that you own the copyright to a video, and if someone sues you because of this, then you will have to pay any damages, including their legal expenses. You might be able to get away with it if the person you victimized decides to let it go and decides not to go after you. You might also be able to get away with it if your victim can't find you because you have been careful to cover your electronic tracks. But it is possible that your victim could be angry enough to sue you, and you may have gotten sloppy enough along the way that you left an electronic footprint somewhere and that you could be tracked down. So even if you are good at hiding your tracks, you are taking at least a small risk that you will be discovered. So here's how to get someone's account suspended. You can start out by behaving like an insane psycho and make death threats against your victim. Then sign up under an anonymous email account and send YouTube DMCAs demanding that your victim that they take down your target's videos. Now YouTube isn't going to bother to check whether your victim really did indeed copy from your work or not. They don't check to see if you're a whacked out psycho before taking your word as if it's gospel handed down from the heavens above. They just delete videos. And it doesn't matter if you have no legal right to demand that the video be taken down. Hey, if you're a psycho who makes death threats, then you're not going to let a little perjury get in your way, are you? Now you have your victim in a quandary. The only way she can get her videos put back up is to sign a DMCA counter notice with her real name, address, and phone number, which YouTube will immediately give to you. Your victim must choose between doing nothing, in which case her video won't be restored, jeopardizing her safety by signing a DMCA counter notice, or perjuring herself by signing a counter notice with a false name. Intimidate your enemy and send in DMCA notices on 3 videos, and voila, her account will be terminated. I'm going to end the first part of this video here to keep it under 10 minutes. In the next part, I'll tell you how you can get your opponent's account terminated without making death threats. The death threats are optional. So stay tuned, check back in.